Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Mark Gassert, Sales Concepts here, and it's Mark's message, obviously. That's why we're here, to hear the message from the man himself who lives in Peachtree Corners, the peachiest place on the planet. And with that, I'm going to give my shout outs today. Hope everybody had an excellent day, productive day, successful day. And with that, I will give the first shout out to the streamers, those of the virtual in nature, the live stream Grow Live Nation, the Grow Live Academy. Next in line is our emerging sales winners, our diehards. And you know what, Eric Bam, Megamind. So, maybe one day, huh? Anyhow, moving along, how delightful are you during the course of a day? And the reason I want to talk about this is we all go through trials, tribulations, and we have struggles. I don't care if it's in the workplace, the family unit, if you play on an organized sports team, you go through that same process. And, whether you're in corporate America or not, doesn't really matter. You're starting your own business, and everybody goes through struggles. So during your struggles, and anybody wants to hop on here, I'd love to hear it. How do you maintain your delightfulness? And I'm sorry, I'm going back here. And Brian, please don't hate me. Brian Monahan wrote an excellent book, Customer Delight 365. And it's really made an impact on me. It's something I read the first thing I do when I get up. I just love reading it. I'm following the course of each day. So obviously September 10th, and I've got a little reading here I'm going to pull up, but let's look at struggles. Last night, I watched one of my brothers here from the Grow Live Academy, Mark Rodriguez. I caught the tail end of it, but I did hit the replay and checked it out. And Mark's going through some hurt here with his father. I totally can relate to that because I went through that process not that long ago, a couple years ago, and I watched my father leave the face of the earth. And I was in a hospice unit. So it was about for a week, my brother and I. And, I can really relate when he was talking and he was sharing photographs, pictures, memories. And like he said something that triggered something within me said like that, and that's how quick life goes by. And with that, one of the things that he kept reverberating and what I could hear in my mind was, the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. And with that, we only have so much time on this earth. I know Ken Walls has talked about this in some of his uh, live streams, but one day we're all going to leave here. Now, where we go exactly, that's the total mystery. There is life after we leave this earth, but that's the mystery. And that's not for us to figure out here on this earth. But with that, you got to make the most of each day. You got to go for it. And so the worst thing to have is regret, as opposed to failure. And I guess that's where I'm coming from when I say, how delightful are you? Is losing fun? Hell no, it's not fun. And I've been on the receiving end of it too many times, and I won't get into that. But I always think of George Allen, the guy. If you ever check out Coach George Allen, his last stopping point was the Washington Redskins in the National Football League, although he did coach collegiately afterwards. But George Allen was a unique individual. He said, when you lose, I mean, I read one of these quotes, and it's actually on YouTube. He said, it's like you lose one of your organs. You die a little bit. I'm trying to talk like Allen. He says, you lose like an organ, a kidney, a liver. That's what it's like when you lose. And no one liked to be around the guy when he lost. Not that he was mean, but he just harbored it, man. He detested it. And one of the things I always remember is what I'm doing today, getting me closer to my objective. So I'm asking you that, the audience, Is it binge watching Netflix, drinking beer? I mean, I'm just asking. Or is it doing something constructive that you're trying to obtain or reach a goal? Like you've got someone you need to connect with, a business deal, or it could be a loved one you're trying to rekindle and get that, relationship going again. It could be a financial Goliath that you're dealing with. It could be that you want to get engaged, start out there, or maybe get married. And it could be that, you have to deal with some unpleasantry, like someone's going to leave the face of the earth. And so what I'm saying is what you're doing today getting you closer to your objective? How do you prepare daily? So do you read? Do you write? Do you reflect? You know, and do you go somewhere and have a quiet spot, a space? I used to think all that stuff was crazy until Jeffrey Gitomer, kept preaching that in his Emerging Sales Winners. And, it's not stupid. It actually does work, and it gets you in the right frame of mind to go out there and kick some butt and take names. And that's all I wanted to share here with you this evening. And, we talk about losing. I'm going to share something my son, who's in college, shared with me. He's on a student council in college, and it's called The Five Dysfunctions of a Teen. Okay, kind of a cool book. And this book here was written by a man by the name of Patrick Lencioni. And he talks about these five, it's a mythical novel, I should say, but he talks about the five dysfunctions. And what I thought was interesting here when I'm looking at this is the first one, absence of trust. Now, think about what's going on in the world today. Whether you're on the left, the right, in between, up, down, all around, we have a comment. Hey, Brian, great book. Thank you. No, your book's great, Brian. And this is the gentleman right here that wrote, and I'm sorry, Brian, please don't get mad at me. Wrote this bad boy right here, Customer Delight. Awesome book. Brian, I loved your book, really do. But getting back here, he talks about absence of trust, fear of conflict, artificial harmony is what he puts off to the side, then lack of commitment, ambiguity. And then he talks about avoidance of accountability, low standards. And then at the top, which pertains to your status and your ego, and I know I talked about this in Russell Rules, he talks about a team ego. He has inattentiveness to results. So when you get down to it, trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, and results. Look at that. There's Brian. Trust is key to relationship building. Amen to that, brother. It is. And Brian knows that, and I know he knows that at Prestige AV, where he's working right now. I know he has to strongly advocate that and live it, and he does through his book. But if you can get people to trust you, and it all goes back to those three things, and here it is. Can I trust you? Can you help me? And do you care for me? And if you approach people from that perspective, you will be amazed how doors open up for you. And people will be more receptive to you. Even if you have to do this and pick up the phone and call people, you will be amazed when you come across that way. And what's really cool about it is, I used to think, hey, is this really going to work? Is this not really going to work? What do you think? And then, along comes Brian with his book. And while I'm here, I'm going to read this, and this is September 10th. Now, Brian puts this in perspective. The reason I love this, and I'm going to say it again, it's not just a book of quotes. Sure, he gives you he states the quote, which I'm going to read here, but then he gives you his take. And the neat thing about what Brian enables and wants you to do is You create your own take on what he's offering to us. So this one, I want to put a ding in the universe. I'll read it again. I want to put a ding in the universe. Steve Jobs, right? Very cool. So then Brian comes along and says, okay, here's my take, Brian's take. I want to put delight in the universe. See? Delight. And that's why I said, how delightful are you? And I don't mean to be rude here, but when your butt's getting kicked, are you still delightful? When you're losing, are you still delightful? I want to inspire you to put delight in the universe. I want to inspire you to put delight in the universe. And if you approach it that way, that's not saying that you're happy and gay when you lose. That's not what I'm saying at all. And that's not what Brian's conveying here through this quote. But it's the way you approach things, the way you handle things, because you are going to lose more than you win. And you can go to anybody that's won and's done very well for themselves, and they have gone through some trials and tribulations that you don't even want to know about. And I'm sure Brian has too. We all have a story. But the thing is, it's what you do with that story. You can't keep looking back and behind. You got to move forward. Just like what we're going through right now. This COVID thing is about over. It's got to be. And here you go. He's going to share some. I'll take it from the author. Delight is also being authentic. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. And what I say with that is my mantra is I'm going to be real, raw, and authentic, or resilient, I should say. Real, raw, and resilient. And to me, that equals authenticity. I know that's a little crude, but like being real, being raw, and resilient. So when bad things happen to you, you bounce up. If you ever seen in baseball, when a guy makes a slide into a bag, he kind of hops up. That's what you do. You get knocked down, boom, you get back up. It's not a big deal. It's going to happen, but it's how you handle those things. And I just wanted to share this with you. And this is just my thought and perspective on, I thought about this quote all day, and it's been kind of fun being on the phone talking to different people, and no one told me to go where or go fly a kite or whatever. So I guess I had a pretty good day, as well as using the social media tools out there. So and I guess it's all about mindset, and it goes back to just like in baseball, your approach. When you wake up in the morning, Mark's message, aka Brian's take. By the way, be but as a live stream. Okay, BTW, but as a live stream. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know about that, Brian. I'm trying. But all I was going to say here was, how you're going to handle things out there. And who knows what tomorrow is going to bring us. But I always kid, there's another guy out there, Chris Rash, who does all his morning walks. And I love when he starts out his walks, he goes, "It is I, Chris Raj, kick ass nation." And he's a coach, but, his whole perspective is on, being, the real deal, and, not faking it till you make it and all that other nonsense. Meaning you are putting your spin on things via this format. Very cool. Thank you, Brian. Here's a guy, Brian, I wish we would have met when I was in the hospitality industry. I would have loved to work with you, even though I work for some of those other companies, which will remain anonymous. You know, um, Brian, by the way, works for Prestige Audio Visual, and I checked them out, and they look very legit. And I'm sure he's having fun doing what he's doing, man. And I know he's going to be very successful at it. So, in fact, he wrote this book. You know what, Brian? Just as you're out there and listening to this, you motivated me to like say, "Hey, man, I need to step up my game and do one of these. Put a book together." I know, but likely why we connect. Okay, I got you. That's cool. Yeah, I hear you, and that's true. That's true. You know, um, that was another life. And anyway, I just talked to somebody that used to be a general manager at the Georgia Well Congress Center today, and he said things are pretty bad out there as far as the exposition end of things. But now they're getting into these live um, or virtual type events with a hybrid type exhibit. So, which I thought was very interesting. Ready for your book, Mark? Yeah. You know what? You got it, man. Because I do write, so I need to put some things down here. I think I have a few things to say and offer. Yes. Expo is destroyed. How true. You know, Brian's in a unique situation because he can use all these social media platforms because he's using AV. So, from a training mechanism to a general session to virtual messaging, whatever they want to do, man, AV's always on the cutting edge. And I always kind of wish I would have gravitated Brian towards that side of things back in the day instead of out there in Expo land. Because you are absolutely correct. Some of those people are hurting tremendously and they are no longer working at the same place. Oh, look at that. And we have, I'll buy it, Gassard. Yes, very good. And Ron, I'm glad you're here. Ron Goodwin, Goodwin Graphics. Um, hey man, the wedding got moved up to the 21st of November. That's a long story. We're going to have a Zoom call. I'll have to fill you in all the craziness, but looks like it's going to be done outside the church. So officially, unofficially, they won't be married in the church per se, or the sacrament of holy matrimony, etc. And I know, Ron, you understand that, but later on they'll get married, I guess, in December. So, Ron in the house. There you go. See, everybody knows Ron, you know. And I'll tell you what, Ron, I love that happy birthday message. I've seen that done quite a few years ago where someone had his camcorder was out, tells you how long ago that was, and he was recording everybody and he had them say happy birthday to his wife Joanna, and he was just picking people randomly. You know, it was a hoot to watch. I mean, he had one heck of a uh, taping of various people. I mean, from all walks of life, and it was. I thought that was kind of a cool gift. I mean, he came up to me. I said, "No, go to somebody else," but it was different, definitely different. So with that, unless you guys want to tell me, Ron, what we were talking about here is how delightful, referring to Brian's book, are you when you're getting your butt kicked, when you're in a losing process or you're struggling? You know, how delightful do you approach the day? What do you do? My daughter did it. Okay, cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's neat. I love it. You know. But you know, as long as I didn't see any homeless people out there or people I didn't know. They looked like pretty respectful citizens. I'm teasing. Anyway, so those were some of the things we talked about. And then I pulled up another book here, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. So we were talking about how delightful, and maybe you could share something with us, Ron, because you're in business and you don't win every day. You know, if you do, I want to know because I don't know of anybody, even in baseball, that goes, 3 for 3, 4 for 4 every day. So, but if you're doing that, let us know. How do you deal with it? And I talked to, there you go. See, I watch silly videos with my team to lighten the mood. That is cool. No, and that is very cool. Yes, delight in the universe. Very good. And that's the whole point. Don't take yourself so serious. Now, I did mention that George Allen, when he lost, he mentioned the fact that losing's like losing an organ, like a kidney or your liver, your gallbladder. You know, it's a slow death. Now, you got to understand that's professional athletics, and that's what those guys get paid to do. Um, we're professionals at what we do, but I think there is a different approach you can use. It's not life or death. You're not putting somebody on the moon. And dude, it is a good day. Absolutely. It is always a good day. And I am so thankful when I wake up every day. And I guess it all goes back to what I was talking about with Mark Rodriguez last night. He was on a live and he was talking about his father. And, his father, has dementia. He's in hospice. And I mean, that's got to be tough. I saw my father in a hospice unit, and it's not a pleasantry, but these are all things, it's part of life, and you just got to roll with it and don't let it drag you down, And like I said, one of the things, yeah, this is cool. All the problems we have are just challenges. Exactly. I'll do you one better. My grandfather used to say that the problems you have 9 times out of 10 are problems that you created yourself. I didn't really understand or believe that, but if you try to live beyond your means and you get yourself in a financial predicament, how did it happen? If you're in a business and instead of taking baby steps and you want to go crazy, I love this guy. Spelling is I love that, especially my spelling. Well, let me ask you something. Can you write cursive, Ron? Since Goodwin Graphics. I mean, do you hand design everything, with the pen here? Can you do that? Um, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. Uh, what type of student were you, Ron? I bet you knocked it out of the park. You're probably a great speller. You're just having fun with us. But that's Ron Goodwin, wit and wisdom, And I feel like with Ron, I mean, I used to say this, and Brian can relate if he's still out there. When we used to do these shows and they were going all over the place, going south, and it's like the last, 6 to 8 hours, and you'd be like, it looked like mass confusion out there. I'll be nice about it, but a cluster, you know what. And yeah, your big problems from last year are just pleasant memory. Amen to that. Amen to that. Thank you, Ron. But one of the things we were kidding about is I got on the microphone, and this was in a convention hall, and I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Titanic. I am your leisure time director." Thank you, CF. Okay, and everybody just started howling. Man, they cracked up because things were showing up late, and Brian can relate to this. Gear was coming late for AV people. People that shipped in product for their booths was coming in late. We were already on overtime. In between time, oh, it was just a mess. We didn't have enough labor. We were going through a strike, and I just couldn't help myself. And I had to say it. At that time, I was working for an AV company, and the guy running, he's like, "Who the hell said that?" And I said, "Well, I did." He just started laughing, man. He said that was cool because it got everybody to lighten up. Because I said, "Hey, we're going to open up on time tomorrow, so don't worry about it." Even though we pretty much pulled an all nighter to make it happen. So, with all that, that's my quest to be delightful. Which again, I'll pull it up. I'll give a kudos to the book, the man himself who's been bestowing us with his wisdom again, Customer Delight. And that's Brian Monahan. Excellent book. Is that when they fired you? No, that wasn't it. Which job, man? Oh, excuse me, Ron. No, they have a nicer term for that. They were right sizing, going a different direction. We're in a little bit of a financial duress right now. Things aren't where we want them really to be. And, that was 11 years ago, that hiccup. Yeah, there you go. And that's exactly right. That's what I said. I just got promoted. I'm promoted out of here. So it was a move for the best. Ron, you're a trip. Thank you, Brian, for rescuing me. We got to watch this guy. So, with all that, I'm pretty much going to say adios. And as always on Mark's message, which, I'm going to say it, gentlemen, Peachtree Corners, Georgia is the peachiest place on the planet. And if you don't believe me, You can come here and check it out. Humor always breaks the tension. Amen to that. Thank you, Ron. And you know what? That right there in a nutshell, I think Brian will agree with this. I know I will. I don't see people laughing, having fun enough. Now, through the emerging sales winners, Megamind, Grow Live, yeah. But yeah, if they don't laugh, well, okay, so let me ask you, Ron, was that like a spelling faux pas? I mean, should I read it out or are you messing with us again? Can you tell me what that was? If they don't laugh, well, drew them. So I guess you were going to say something else there. Brian, what do you think? I'm trying to understand the concept here. Come on, Ron, you got to come back and tell me. Please tell me that was a misspell, because then that, like specially, Anyway, what I'm trying to get at here, everybody, and excuse me as I digress. These guys will get me, and particularly Ron will get me off my game. People don't laugh enough, and I used to be that way, so doggone blessed serious. Yeah, it's just not worth it, even if you don't get the deal that you think you should get and you don't get, something else will come down the pipeline, man. So don't have a stress sandwich over the doggone thing, and stop worrying about money 24/7. I mean, that used to be me, and just get over it, man. Um, Glad you could read through the spell check. So now he comes up just screwing with you. Yeah, thank you. Oh, I know. I know. And you want to know something? Since you brought that up, smart guy, tomorrow night I'll be doing it Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. I can't wait. Saturday is officially opening day. So, yeah, I'll be getting yelled at. And you're probably one of those guys that sits on the far right. Ron's probably one of those guys, the fans, and they always see that outside corner better than I do, who I'm directly behind the plate. But they see it like, they must have radar like Superman, you know. So maybe you can explain that to me, Ron, how that works. Because I mean, what I'm watching in these baseball games is downright scary. How everything's under review in baseball, and even last night I watched an NBA game with my son. I just can't believe how they're reviewing calls, whether it was a flagrant foul or this type of foul and a normal foul. And I'm like, good Lord, what is going on here? And a coach can actually recant the call made and say, hey, I want to question that call. I mean, what's happening to the human element, Hope that doesn't come down to baseball where they have a computer back there. Never question the young. Oh, Lord. Well, man, I'll tell you what, if that's the case, Mr. Goodwin, then can you please tell Major League what in the name of Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, is going on out there when they do what they do with these calls? I'll admit some of them are bad, but it's like every time a guy gets one on the corner or it's a little at that midpoint, they want to cry. Um, don't understand that concept. If you can help me understand it, Ron, I'd appreciate it. We might want to have you go out there and monitor that screen. You'd have a field day with those umps. So knowing you'd be telling them all sorts of things. But actually, just so you know, Ron, they have actually had an umpire behind the plate with buds in his ears, and there was a guy up in a booth in minor league baseball dictating to him whether it was a ball or a strike through a computer. Yeah, those things have actually happened. So hope it doesn't get to major league though. Well, guys, with all that, I've enjoyed this evening. It is now close to 6:30, and you can't break the rules. The law is the law, right? But officer, I wasn't speeding. How many times have we said that? That's bees. Oh my goodness, Ron, you're too much. But with all that, I am going to back it on down because we are at the 6:30 hour. And in Mark's message, remember, guys, like these gentlemen themselves emulate, they do it every day. Be a leader, be a friend. Most important of all, be of service. That's the key. And that was my message here about how delightful are you? Be of service. Get your eyes off you and serve others. And then you stop stressing about all these other things out here in the universe that you think are important. Put your eyes on someone else. Put yourself in that position where they're at in life because things could always be worse. So be grateful, gratitude. That's what it's all about. Mark's message, Peachtree Corners, the peachiest place on the planet. Yes, indeed. And as always, I'm going to do it. It's about the approach. You get in the box. And remember, everybody, together, if you and I keep what? Swing for the fences, right? Chaccoon. We can knock it out of the park. Hey, Mark's message. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow being Friday is Freeform Friday, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to get crazy tomorrow. And tomorrow yes, very good. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate that. So join us tomorrow. We're going to have a fun Friday. So I'm not going to tell you what, but we're going to do some crazy stuff and let it rip because that's what it's all about. If you're not having fun, why are we here, right? With that, I will catch you tomorrow.